everybody. This is Brian Sullivan, the host of Nassau COBA Monthly. I'm here. This is the January edition. I'm here with Second Vice President of COBA, John Hogan. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. We're back after a bit of a delay with all of the stuff going on with COVID. We haven't had a chance to do too many podcasts and things like that lately, but I want to start off the year right. I want to get back into the swing of things. I want to be able to have hopefully monthly podcasts unless something goes along. If you hear the audio is a little bit off, it's not as clear as it's been in the past. There's two reasons for that. We have a new podcast set up. We changed our website company. We changed to a new company that's offered us a lot better things for bang for our buck. We also had turn my computer down so that doesn't beep in the background. But we're also doing this because of COVID restrictions. We're doing it kind of through a Zoom setup. It's not video, but it's an audio setup. So it's Zoom. Fortunately, in the next month, hopefully in February, it doesn't go much longer than that. We're going to have a better audio and microphone setup. We'll be able to do it we're kind of doing it over the internet right now. So I apologize if the audio is a little delayed. I'm going to set this up hopefully into three different sections like we normally do. Hopefully they're about 10 minutes apiece. I might go over because, as you all know, I tend to ramble a little bit. But let's start off. I'm going to do a recap of 2020 because I want to make sure everybody sees. A lot of times, unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion that people's memories only go back about 3 months or so. So I want to make sure that all of our members realize a lot of the work that was put in by this union in the last year for 2020. And I also want to start off first by recognizing members that we lost over the last year. In no particular order, some of the dates were different. We lost retired Correction Officer Roy Geyer, retired Lieutenant Phil Carucci, retired MedTech Frank Clark, retired Officer Bobby Kettrick, Robert Kettrick, Nurse Marlene Costello, Tony the Tailor passed away, Maintenance Man Clark passed away. We've all known him. His son actually works here as a correction officer. Lieutenant Mike Citron, Officer James, nicknamed James Old Man McCann. That was unfortunate. He died quickly of a heart attack. Retired Captain Jimmy Donlin. We also lost Officer Melvin Hampton. And even though it's this year, it's worth noticing that it's Officer Greg Pryor just passed away about a week and a half ago. So I just wanted to make sure that we give them a little bit of a memory in the beginning of this. For our recap of 2020, I just want to throw in a lot of stuff that's gone on. Going back to last January of 2020, I'm sure you'll all remember because I had a ton of information out about all the numerous media coverages that we had of inmate releases from our jail and across the state under bail reform. I did a lot of town halls and local speeches, several of them with the Nassau Police Commissioner, Pat Ryder, about the dangers of bail reform and discovery reform. The whole beginning of this year, and actually we're still in it, it's not changing, is bail reform, bail reform, bail reform. Our whole lives have changed here. The inmate head count is down. We have a lot of issues. We have a lot of consolidation, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be changing anytime soon, especially since a lot of candidates that we supported pro-law enforcement in the state and the federal government did not win. Going back to several different things, I just want to remind you, back in March, we kept hitting the issue home about documentation. We sent out a documentation directive that if you don't put it on paper in the department when you're involved in issues, then it did not happen. So logbooks, report writing, all that stuff, you have to put everything in documentation. It's the only way to support yourself. It's the only way to protect yourself. Again, back in March, we had the Nassau Cares suicide awareness issue. March into April, because of COVID, once it hit in earnest, we did numerous emails regarding COVID, what your rights are, what COVID is. We did issues about HIPAA regulations and things that you need to do about administrative leave if you actually get COVID or if you have symptoms of COVID. There were federal laws that came out. There were state laws that came out. Death benefits that came out. If they changed the requirements for death benefits and things like that, you're able to get it immediately. I hope you all remember the numerous barbecues that we had for our members and the flood of donations that we got from numerous different people all over the world. They were giving us things like the Feel Good Foundation, Barish and McGarry. different political groups and local organizations, Malvern Cares and things like that. We got a lot of stuff. We got things from Cohen's Children's Hospital that helped us out. And we really can't thank those organizations and all those people, and forgive me for leaving a couple out, but we can't thank them enough for helping out our members.
Ed and Jess Dennehy.
Ed and Jess Dennehy, right.
First ones out of the box.
Yep. And I was actually I wanted to, thank them individually, but they really came out of the woodwork, and they donated thousands and thousands and thousands of surgical masks for our guys. It was probably over 10,000 masks that they delivered for our people, and we can't thank them enough. Back in April, the end of April, I did several informational videos that I sent out to you guys related to COVID administrative leave. Again, what your rights are, what your responsibilities are, because it's not just what your rights are, it's things that you need to do to protect yourself. We got face shield donations. We secured antibody testing for our members back in May. There was things that we got through OEM and the police department that we were able to get the COVID testing and the antibody testing through Northwell Health over at Grumman. Back in May also, the nurses actually paid us back. The Winthrop nurses came here and fed our people, which was fabulous on them. In May, we had workers' comp claims problems. We filed a class action grievance because the county and the department was failing to recognize the COVID administrative leave and infections as 207C. That's still pending, but that does not change the fact that you have administrative leave for everything else. It's just going forward to make sure that you have 207C protection, and there's also issues about taxes and disability and things like that. Back in May, we had May 21st, there was a GoFundMe page that we supported greatly because there was a problem with Melvin's family was not able to provide for a proper funeral for Melvin. We got that out to our members, and thankfully we were able to raise a good ton of money, and Melvin got the funeral that he deserved. Again, I said about numerous food deliveries. The Widows and Children's Fund came in, and we can certainly thank them. They did a bunch of breakfasts for our members. The end of May, we did a Salute to the Heroes Classic Car Parade over at Winthrop. We drove all our members over there, and we put that out on the internet, thanking the nurses and the doctors for all the work they're doing and paying them back for giving our guys dinner. Then we started swinging back into the normal union stuff. We had a lot of problems, obviously, this year, holding our state and local leaders accountable for their failure to act during civil unrest that was going on. When they failed to act, and they had legislation to revoke our civil rights as law enforcement officers under 50A with your personnel files and disciplinary files. The state was paroling cop killers, releasing dangerous criminals left and right in New York. I sent out a thing in June for a membership call to action demanding accountability to the state for revoking 50A, and I certainly hope all of our members called and sent letters to their state and local representatives about revoking our civil rights. We have a lot of very left-leaning politicians in this state that keep talking about civil rights, and one of the first things they did was revoke law enforcement officers' civil rights, state civil rights, and it's really a disgrace. Even though we didn't have anything, a lot of money coming in this year with the Widows and Children's Fund, we didn't have a lot of didn't have any fundraisers. We were able to still provide the scholarships for our members back in June, so nobody was without this year. We provided several scholarships to our members, which comes in handy. A lot of other organizations, other unions, they joined in with us, so we supported each other even without the fundraisers. John mentioned before about Ed Dennehy, Madman Barbershop. Ed and his wife, Jessica, they came through in spades for us, and we can't thank them enough. And I certainly hope our members remember them and you frequent their stores, the Madmen Barbershop, because they really helped us. Back in July, we had the Eisenhower Park Back to Blue rally. There was thousands and thousands and thousands of people there that were supporting all of those of us in law enforcement. I had the privilege to speak there, and it worked out very well. Again, we've done numerous work with our 9/11 family, our retirees, our active people. Unfortunately, we have several of our people, current and retired, that are suffering some debilitating issues, cancers and things like that. And we're doing our best to make sure that they're fully covered under the state and through the federal Victims Compensation Fund. That's an ongoing thing that's obviously very close, near and dear to my heart. Back in August, we won a Supreme Court decision regarding no lost time. This falls under Dennis. The department and a certain captain that thought he was a doctor here for the longest time was only letting people be approved for. I see you laughing, John. They were only approving people if they took off at least the following tour of duty. We won that arbitration where you just had to receive treatment. As long as you received treatment, you could have gone the night of the injury or any time thereafter, and you're eligible to receive 207C. We won that, and of course, what do you think the county did? They appealed it. So we're in the appeal process for that. One of the best things that I was able to do so far with the new administration, I hope everybody remembers, in August, we secured disciplinary protections for our members from video surveillance camera fishing expeditions. We had a bunch of new cameras that were put in here, and we had an issue with, one or two people were looking at cameras and they decided they wanted to supervise from the eye in the sky, and we kicked back on that big time, and we secured a disciplinary protection that they can't just go on fishing expeditions. Of course, if there's something going on and there's an investigation and something comes up, that can be used, but they can't just go sitting around because they're bored and following you up and down the hallways, or you're going just to pick on the fact that you don't have your name tag on or something like that. We dedicated our new monument to people that passed away while in active service. And that was on September 11th. It's a beautiful new monument out there. We brought in the public sector student loan forgiveness program in September. Back in October, we had a lot of to do about the public safety, the budget hearing that went on. Of course, they lowered our budget here because the place was contracting due to bail reform, everything else. They weren't going to put a class in until July of next year, and we had a lot of people retiring, and we fought back hard on that. Then they moved it up to March, and then they actually moved it up to where a class is going in tomorrow. There's a class of 25 going in tomorrow. From what I'm told, there's another class, hopefully of another 25 going in April when that class gets out. There's no way we could sustain the attrition that was going on here without bringing people in and bringing them in sooner. We had the cigar night. We offered the flu shots at the union office back in November. We did a big veterans donation in November for Nassau County veterans. We brought in the COBA website, and we have a new database that's going up to bring us into the 21st century of being able to look up past cases instead of relying on paper and pencil, things like that. We have to move this union forward, and we have a very good program that's the people that do our website and this database program is just a little labor intensive to get a lot of the information in. I want to thank COBA delegate Jamar Gore. He's been doing an invaluable job helping us get stuff uploaded into the system. It's going to take months to get it done. Again, there's been workers' compensation issues with COVID. They haven't changed the state laws. Dennis did a great job. He's been in personal contact with everybody that's gone out positive with COVID. He gets a package to everybody that it's got fillable fields about injuries on duty, injury to officers, 85 eyes, all that type of stuff. And I want to commend Dennis on a great job that he did, and he continues to do with this. We have a continued fight over the new radio system that's come in. Obviously Motorola. I'm not happy that we don't have our own independent system here, but the county bought a multi-million dollar radio system, $100 million radio system that's for everybody in the county. It's the PD, it's us, it's fire marshals, probation, DPW, OEM, everybody's all under the one big umbrella of this radio system. And as you all know, we've had tons of problems with this radio system that many people were trying to push off on as user error, things like that. It's not user error. We were able to prove that. We had several Zoom meetings with Motorola. The union did with Motorola, our department, the PD. They actually put a new microwave in on the hospital a couple of weeks ago and put that in play. A lot of the issues seem to have died down. There's still a couple of issues that need to be resolved. There's some dead spots, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're completely on top of that. I'm going to touch base. I know I'm starting to run over a little bit of time. I already lied. I'm way past the 10-minute time limit on this. I'm going to take a break in a second. I'm going to come back and I want to recap some of the lawsuits, things like that, that we've done and some of the things that we're going to be doing going forward. So This is Nassau COBA Monthly. Brian Sullivan, John Hogan. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Nassau COBA Monthly. Brian Sullivan, John Hogan. Say hi, John.
Hi, John.
You did a lot of talking the first time around, John.
I'll just stop you, big guy.
I'll just stop you. That's it. All right. I just got one or two more things I want to talk about in part two of three parts I'd like to do here today. Basically, a list of grievances, court cases, things like that we've dealt with and we continue to deal with over the last year. Going back to the beginning of the year, we had problems with, there was a class action grievance filed about transportation and problems with the radios. We were able to stipulate that out while they were still getting the radios fixed. We got numerous cell phones bought by the county and issued to transportation to make sure our guys are protected. We obviously back earlier in the year, we did the comp time for COVID. Everybody, that's a very big hot button topic here for our people. We had the arbitration for that on November 25th, which pending the decision. We think we should probably get the decision sometime in February or March about all the comp time stuff. Obviously, everybody knows about longevity, all the stuff that's gone on with the county. We actually have a court date next Thursday, the 21st. We're going to be in Brooklyn. It's actually going to be it's a video Zoom thing because if you remember, the court, for some reason, did not put all of us together, the 5 unions. They broke us into different things, and the PBA and the DAI went first. The CSEA, and the superior officers of the police department, the cases weren't decided, so that's going to go ahead next Thursday, and I'll keep you apprised of that. I'll send out an email. We all know that the administration cut the desk lieutenant's post. There was a lot of talk of settling it to put the desk lieutenant back, but we did not like the terms that the department was looking for and the county was looking for, so we went ahead with the arbitration. That was done on 2 different dates in October and December. We're waiting that decision. That should also come in sometime February or March. We have 207Cs, a lot of different stuff, failure to post for seniority, the special project stuff that started. We started pulling people out of that weren't seniors, so we grieved that. Health and safety with the radio outages. One of the biggest things that we filed and we tried to get a temporary injunction for, but we weren't. We're the only union in Nassau County that filed a grievance and for an injunction about the Aetna OAMC, the premiums going forward, that our members have to, because of the 2014 agreement, that anything over the cost of 85% for Empire, you have to pay. Now, the county also, in our opinion, has to provide a no-cost plan for our members, and they failed to do that in the leading up to this, and now our people have to pay the separation. Obviously, that's a big topic of conversation in contract negotiations, things like that. But unfortunately, we're unsuccessful to get an injunction, but the grievance goes ahead, and we're going to let you know as soon as we get a grievance date. There's been numerous arbitrations about all disciplinary cases. A lot of people, we won a lot of disciplinary cases or settled a lot of disciplinary cases where a lot of our members got their records absolved. They got vacation time that was taken restored to them. And Brian Doyle does a great job with the grievances and arbitration. NYPA, unfortunately, I sent out a thing the other day. The long NYPA wage freeze lawsuit finally came to an end. The U.S. Supreme Court refused to have our case heard in front of them, us and about 5 pages of other people. They only hear about 1% of cases that are presented to them, and they did not decide to hear our case. So that means the long national nightmare of the NYPA wage freeze lawsuit is over. There were just short of 10 years since the wage freeze was implemented, and we've exhausted every single avenue. And I have to tell you, all of our attorneys working in conjunction, Kohler and Isaacs, we've had Kohler and Isaacs since I started working here. I can't be happier with the work that Kohler and Isaacs does. They go out of their way a lot of times for our members, and I'm very, very happy with the way, and I'm glad that we keep them going. They're very specialized in corrections. They work very well with the police attorneys and with the CSEA's attorneys. A lot of work was put, especially into that NYPA thing. Unfortunately, we didn't win it, but we won a ton of other cases with these guys. And there's a lot of disciplinaries, a lot of grievances, and they know the playing field. They're very, very well versed in this, and I'm very happy with the job that they do. Now, moving forward into 2021, we got a lot of challenges ahead of us. These vaccines are finally coming out, thankfully. But the only problem is our buddy King Cuomo likes to point fingers at everybody but himself about the unavailability of the vaccines. A lot of these websites don't work. He blames the federal government. He likes to point up and he likes to point down. He blames the federal government that they don't supply him. He blames the county governments for not getting the vaccines out. If you saw something in the paper last week, he blamed Laura Curran and the Westchester County executive, as well as their local hospitals, NUMC and Nassau County. He blamed them for not getting the vaccines out. I've spoken to several people I know in NUMC, and they're basically saying this guy's out of his mind because they haven't provided us with the vaccines. How do we get vaccines out that we haven't had delivered to us? Yesterday, the 13th, they actually showed up, and I got a phone call from the sheriff and the county that they're going to start giving the vaccines as of yesterday. So they had 30 people yesterday right off the bat. They're hoping to do at least 30 vaccinations a day, 7 days a week, until all of our people are going to get it. And the only thing I could ask you is, when you get a phone call, I know everybody put their names on that list. When you get a phone call to go and get your vaccination, please prioritize that. You know, if I'm not telling anybody you should get it, you shouldn't get it. That's a personal choice you have to make. It's a voluntary decision you have to make. Some people do not like vaccines for various reasons, and I don't blame anybody at all. It's a personal choice. Personally, I'm going to get it when my turn comes up. But if you're eager to get the vaccine and your number comes up and they call you, prioritize whether or not you want to work the pop that day or go, give up your spot in the queue, and then you got to wait for them to come back to you. Just realize that you might get called on short notice. And if we're ever going to get out of this pandemic, I think this is the only way it's going to go. If waiting for herd immunity and people dying, it's not going to happen. Moving on to contract. You all know that we've been in a long, protracted contract issue. We've been out of a contract since the end of 2017. We've been in negotiations. We've been out of negotiations, back in again. The PBA recently voted, start off the SOA, superior officers and detectives. They came to agreements with the county. Their members voted overwhelmingly to vote in these contracts. The PBA, they had their contract voted down by their members. Now, speaking to a lot of people, a lot of guys on our job, some of the younger guys that left, I know people personally, a lot of our guys in the office here, we all know people that left this job and went to the cops. I don't think that they really understood or it was explained to them as well as it could have been to realize exactly what the issues were and the money that they were going to be getting and the cost of concessions that they gave. We all know it's a hostile environment. There's a control board in place. The county's still not in charge of their own finances. They're going to be rebonding the debt. That's going to bring NIFA. That's going to say that NIFA is going to be here out to 2040. So they're not leaving here anytime soon, but the idea is to get them out as a control board. NIFA is going to be here forever, but we're negotiating basically with NIFA right in the room because there's no other way you're going to get a contract done. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And we're also living in a decimated economy now that Joe Biden's going to be the president. They're talking about there may be stimulus packages that include money for state and local governments. We certainly hope that is going to happen, but they're going to reimburse them for COVID-related expenses. They're not going to bail out counties to get NIFA out of here. They're not going to bail out New York City. The federal government's not going to do any of that. They're not going to pay off your own debt. It's going to be all related to COVID. But just going forward, make sure everybody has their eyes wide open when you see what goes on. I think the PBA members, there was some issues there that they did not like, but I don't think that they had a full grasp on what they were giving up. They were gaining a good amount of stuff in that contract that I think there was some differing opinions there, and there was a different message coming out of the police department leadership and the PBA leadership. I don't think everybody was on the same page, and it wasn't presented the best way it could have been. That's pretty much what I want to say about that, and you can read between the lines. We live in a whole new New York now. Not only did all of these left-leaning people get reelected, all these ones that we had problems with last year, the Long Island 6 delegation, the Democrats that all voted for bail reform, voted for discovery reform, voted to take away our civil rights with 50A. Only one of them lost, Monica Martinez, out in Suffolk County. But not only did everybody else win in New York State, they gained a supermajority. in the Senate. So now there's a supermajority in the Senate, a supermajority in the Assembly. And what that means is Governor Cuomo now does not have veto power over any legislation that they pass. He can veto it, but the legislature can override his veto with a supermajority. So if they want to shove anything down our throats, the governor, who as much as a whatever you want to call him, I'll leave it at that since I'm being recorded, at least he had the power to veto some of this really, really insane stuff that was going on. That's gone out the window now because there's a supermajority. Let me read you a quick thing from Assembly Bill number 1914 for the 2021-2022 session. This bill was introduced by member of Assembly Carol Fernandez. The last name is Carol, and the last name Fernandez, and Seawright. You get a chance, look this up. Assembly Bill number 1914. This allows for the termination of any police or peace officer due to a use of force. Whenever a police or peace officer uses physical force and such force is not justifiable pursuant to Section 3530 of the Penal Law, or such force is not in the procedures on the use of force policies established by the officer's employer, such police officer or peace officer shall be terminated from their position immediately. Now, here's the best part. Such police officer or peace officer shall be terminated regardless of any harm is done or whether the person filed a complaint or any complaint was filed against such officer or peace officer. They can terminate you. Now, there's nothing else to this to say about your due process rights and everything else. We're trying to find out what's going on, but these people are insane. So just think about all the minor, medium, and heavy use of forces you're involved in. The people that do not like anybody in a uniform in New York State are trying to pass legislation that they can terminate you from your employment, regardless of any allegation of criminality or wrongdoing, because you did use of force that may fall somewhat or a little bit out of your use of force policy. This is the nonsense we're dealing with going forward. So everybody needs to be aware of what's going on, of what's going on over our heads, and what everybody thinks of us. It's absolutely insane.
So, Brian, we're looking at becoming more active.
Well,
we got to be more active.
Right. Our members have to be much more active. They have to be much more in tune with what's going on. You have to follow stuff that we're putting out. If we ask you to do any type of call to action, you have to get involved. You have to make phone calls to legislators, write letters, emails, and we're going to get all that information out as it goes along. We have the Downstate Correction Coalition still going strong. There's a new board in New York City Corrections. Their union flipped over to a new board. They're very receptive to the coalition that we started. It's us, Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester, New York City Corrections. Benny Basio is the new president there. He's a good guy. And Mike Powers is the president of New York State Corrections. New York State Corrections saw what a good job we were doing legislatively, and they wanted to join in with us about 2 years ago, and we welcomed them with open arms. So we represent over 50,000 correction officers in New York State. Like I said, top to bottom, we now have a very left-leaning government that does not list law and order as a top priority. The opposite is exactly true. A lot of this, some people would say it's anti-Trump sentiment, all this nonsense that happened last week at the Capitol. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna change administrations. We have a new president coming in. We all need to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But as we're walking out the door on the day of and anybody that's listening to this, I'm a very conservative person, but I was never a fan of Trump. I didn't like the fact that he was putting anti-union judges on the Supreme Court. But obviously, you got to pick and choose your battles here, because the other side, maybe they don't want to help us, but the other side wants to kill you. On Inauguration Day for Joe Biden is going to be the day that the Senate hearing starts for Donald Trump. Why don't they just close the damn door, tell Trump to go home, go to Mar-a-Lago, and let's get on with the rest of our lives? But the same people that are telling you we should hold hands in Kumbaya want to drag out, hearings and this and that and going into the new administration. I just don't get it. We have, like I said, we have a recruit class going in Friday. I talked all about the budget before. We've been all over, and we had a problem here. We haven't had any promotions in this place in earnest since 2017. We haven't hired people accurately. We had 2 small promotions. One of those promotions isn't used in the security or for frontline people. So we haven't had any real promotions in earnest since 2017. While we're seeing people in the police department, they're making 20 sergeants and lieutenants and first grade detectives and all this stuff. It's really a slap in the face from the county to us what's going on here. And I still think that they're trying to find out where bottom is with these, with this, what do you call it, with this consolidation and with bail reform. They don't know what we're going to average out in. And I can see it to a certain extent, but you still have to take care of your own people. You have to hire, you have to promote. We have several breaks in the chain of command here. They haven't done anything since Pizzato was here. Vera didn't do anything for 2 years, and we did 2 people here in the last year. It's really something that this county needs to step up on. Speaking about the new administration, obviously we've had some bumps in the road. There's problems with managing styles, things like that. And you bring new people in here, they're used to doing things a certain way, and our people are used to doing things a certain way. It's our third administration in so many years. You know, the new ones that come in here, I still do have a lot of hope that there's going to be better days ahead, where we still have all this COVID stuff going on. You know, some of the people that are running upstairs, there's a little bit of bristling between management styles. I'll just leave it at that. Everybody knows what's going on here. They don't really know the playing field here. One thing that's come up numerous times with the new administration is they can't believe how the money does not flow here. There is no money here. The money does not flow. You can't get certain things done, and you do have that with an appointed sheriff as opposed to a elected sheriff who basically has to do what his master's voices in Mineola tell him to do. They don't have the freedom. The one thing that has gone on here that I'm happy that, because we've gone over this, I don't know how many times over the last 10 years or so, is they did start instituting a bunch of new training here. They did peer-to-peer training, honor guard training, CERT training. K9 went to do stuff in the city. Our investigative units, they're just finishing up tomorrow part-time academy instructors, instructor development courses. This is all stuff that's going to go on forward, but hopefully it'll help us make this department better and more professional going forward after the way it's been decimated over the last 10, 12 years. But then again, you look at what just went on recently. Newsday printed a story going back a couple of years about all the contraband that's been seized here more than 200 times since 2018. We've been pushing big time about, you know, more searches, more tools. I told you that they're going to be bringing in scanners that should be in hopefully any day now that can detect contraband in body cavities, things like that. This is all stuff that's going to go forward, but we also need to change policies here. We need to change policies about who we're going to search, when we're going to search. We all know that we have some vulnerabilities here. I don't blame anybody in the kitchen or maintenance or anything like that, but they're not uniformed staff. They're not security staff. We should have people searching the kitchens. We should have people searching the inmates that are unloading trucks.
The trucks that are coming in.
The trucks that are coming in every day. I mean, I always tell people, don't compare us to Oz or Shawshank, but when you have open doors and there's things coming in, you have to think that there's contraband coming in from there. And as usual with any administration, when they come in, there's those people that are around that have been around for a while that decide they want to cozy up to the administration. They want to be helpers. You know, sometimes they didn't get along with the last administration, but you know, with the new administration, everybody has an open door policy, and sometimes that open door policy doesn't realize that there's agendas at play, and there's you know, maybe somebody didn't like the way things were run before. So the one thing that I try to tell this administration, and they're no dummies, they've been around for a long time, but this is something that really annoys me. It always annoys me going back to when I first got into the union. Open door policies are great, but if you don't know who the players are, you need to weed out the bullshit between, you know, why are they looking to be helpers? Why are they looking to do whatever? There's always agendas at play, and you know, we represent everybody here. You're certainly not going to throw anybody under the bus, but we try to steer people in the right direction. You know, that whenever there's a helper, it's never for the greater good. There's always an agenda at play. I spoke before a lot of times about these radios and whatever else. I'm not going to do it again. I spoke about it before. But one of the things that came up is all these Zoom meetings. We've done several board meetings of the union, monthly board meetings on Zooms. We did our last general membership meeting on a Zoom. It looks like the next month's meeting in February next month is probably also going to be a Zoom meeting. We can't have everybody congregating in one place. There's a lot of issues going on. I'm hoping once these vaccines and everything else are done that we're going to get back to life normally going forward. I'm going to end that section right there. We're going to take another quick break. I'm going to come back with a final word. This is Nassau COBA Monthly. Brian Sullivan. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Nassau COBA Monthly. Brian Sullivan, John Hogan. I kind of dominated the talk here as I tend to do. John didn't get a word in edgewise.
That's all right. Next month.
But next month we'll change that up because I'm gonna have everybody doing again. You know, people will come on, our VPs will come on and explain what's going on in their respective areas. I just want to end this month's version of this again with something I tried to reiterate to our members many months ago. Over the last several months, we've all experienced an incredible amount of stress and upheaval in our lives. Unfortunately, many of our members came down with COVID. We're going through a pretty harsh second wave right now. I think we're going to blow past the first wave with people that have positive cases of COVID. Unfortunately, many of our members, including myself, had family members die from this horrible disease and pandemic. The economy collapsed. 40 million people were unemployed almost instantly, including many of our own family members, placing bigger burdens on us to provide for our families. I want to reiterate to everybody that I've always been proud of the members of this union and the department. I've always been proud of this job. I'm here 32 years. I'm a dinosaur. I've been around forever. You know, I get it. You know, sometimes we drive each other crazy. I know sometimes we don't like each other. I know there's my own members that don't like me sometimes, but that's life. It comes with the territory. We do our best. But to be clear, during this crisis, I think everybody has shown an incredible amount of courage in the face of adversity with this, we'll just call it an unseen enemy. We all work together to provide equipment and supplies and donations to keep you safe. Everybody came to work every day, did their jobs despite the fear of the unknown. This new administration, you know, comes in the middle of it, creating more unknowns. I'm hopeful that we could all have a good working relationship, you know, from top to bottom as we try to figure each other out and continue to fight to restore this department to its rightful and respected place in law enforcement after having been decimated and demoralized for years and years by horrible past administrators. In the end, I hope that we all realize we're one team performing the most dangerous job in law enforcement as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately, all the stress that we've been under, it shows, and it's only natural. You know, sometimes we have fights, sometimes we're snapping at each other, sometimes we're snapping at our families. If anybody has any issues, don't internalize it. Don't let the world, you know, there's an old saying, it's a fake Latin thing that says, illegitimi non carborundum. It's a thing that one of the retired lieutenants gave us years ago. We used to have it hanging on the union office wall. It basically translates to don't let the bastards grind you down. And that's something that's it sticks in my brain and in my heart all the time. We go through a lot of stresses every day. If you need help, reach out and get some help. We have EAP here. If you need some, everything is anonymous. Reach out on your own if you want. Don't take the stresses of this job home. You're bringing up with worried about bringing the disease home, but don't bring the stresses home. Don't kick your dog, beat your kids, and, you know, having fights with your spouses and all that stuff. We're all we have. We really are. If all the stuff that we've talked about, if we don't realize that we're all we have, you know, then you really don't get it. We can't rely on politicians. They're nothing but opportunists. We can't rely on administrators, you know, as much as we try to help out, but they come and they go. It is what it is. We can only rely on each other for what matters most, which is our personal safety and mutual respect for ourselves and the professional, essential job we perform every single day. The main thing is you got to keep everything in perspective. If you need to work off your frustrations, go punch a punching bag. Like I said, reach out if you need help. Don't let things boil over to where you say or do something that you'll regret immediately. Respect yourself, respect your partner's rights to their opinions, even people that, if they're not your partners, your officer, you know, cohorts. If there's one thing that we've learned is, you know, like at the dinner table, don't ever talk about religion or politics. If you see something's going to go down a bad road, you're never going to change somebody's mind politically or whatever else. You're either this side or you're that side. Everything's down the middle. We don't need to bring that bullshit into a job where we need to protect each other's backs. And the biggest thing is you never know what burdens our fellow officers may be carrying. Somebody may have a sick wife or a sick husband, sick kids, that's caring for an elderly parent. They come to work, they have a bad day. They tell you to go fuck yourself. There's no reason to give up friendships and realize that we need to protect each other back and forth. And that goes out to everybody up and down the line. I want to wish everybody, it is still a little bit early in January. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Hopefully 2021 is going to bring us some better news, some better times. We get out of this vaccine. We could all, go down to Freeport in the middle of the summer and have a couple of cocktails and get on with the rest of our lives. So I'm gonna call it for this time. I'm sorry that John Hogan didn't get to say too much. He hasn't had too much going on with IA. We haven't had those things going on because of COVID restrictions. But that's it. All right, we're gonna call it that. This is Nassau COBA Monthly. We'll be back next month. Again, I apologize if there's any issues with the audio. It's just because we're doing it over a Zoom format, and we're going to have that all straightened out by next month. Take care of yourself, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and watch each other's backs. Goodbye.